Good afternoon, students. Today we are again welcome all of you for the fourth series of the Run at the Rate 100, that is reskilling, upskilling, and acquiring new skills. Today we are going to have our esteemed guest, our speaker of the day is CA Devarshi Kulkarni with us, and he's the youngest, he's a tech-savvy person from Kolkata with us. And today the topic is building leadership skills for future chartered accountants. Over to you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hi, students. First of all, I would like to thank Board of Studies ICI for planning this exceptional series, the Run at the Rate 100. So this is a lovely series made for the students. And I'll not take much time. I'll simply jump into our topic for the day, which is building leadership skills for future chartered accountants. So let me just share my screen. So just confirm once the screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you, Vidiji. So we'll be talking about building leadership skills. But before that, I would like to ask, what is a leader? Who is a leader? So my question to all the students, are you a leader? Do you consider yourself a leader? So mostly, I think this is not a webinar based. So I would be answering the questions based on the answers I receive in other seminars. So if you don't consider yourself a leader, you'll have to start considering yourself. And why is that? I'll be coming into the next few slides. So let me first showcase a few pictures to you, and you'll be answering whether they are a leader or not. So this is the first image that is coming up.
Vice Chairman C. Sanjeev Sanghi, Vice Chairman of Board of Studies Operations, has joined us. He's such a dynamic leader. Under his leadership only and his vision, we have started this series of Run at the Rate 100. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Vidhi ma'am. And Devarshi is from Calcutta, Eastern India, a very, very dynamic chartered accountant speaking on a lot of subject. Well, a very, very good afternoon to all the students and all the participants who have joined this session, Run 100, which we have targeted to do 100 webinar series on how you can, be the future of tomorrow, how you can shape yourself up. And today's topic is very pertinent on, leadership, which is going to be very, very relevant for you. The whole objective of Run 100 was to reskill, upskill, and acquire new skill. And that actually is very, very important, as I always say in all my webinars, is if we want to look forward to be the most developed country of the world, then we have to start running and acquire new skills, because if we have to achieve a distance in less time, we have to increase our speed, and the speed of change becomes very, very important. So I request all my students, all the participants, to please spread this awareness to all your fellow students, because this is going to be a very, very pertinent webinar, which is going to be worked upon on very, very important areas which every CA student should look forward to. And I'm so impressed by the entire team working towards this, on bringing up such innovative subjects and topics, so that this can be really beneficial to all the students. With the support of both the Secretariat of Board of Studies, we are able to achieve this. This is not an easy job. It requires a lot of hard work of identifying speakers, topics, and then doing all the promotions. So a big round of applause for both of them who have been working very hard towards this initiative. And Devarshi, once again, thank you so much. We have seen Devarshi working very heavily on various Excel tools, various automated solutions, and he had been working a lot in those areas. So we will look forward in future also to learn from you how we can automate regular work, so that everyone can learn how to be more efficient, effective, and give a unique experience to the people across, and give a lot of value to an organization. So that's all from my side. Thank you once again, and over to you, Devarshi, to take it forward.
Thank you, Sanjeev Bhaiya. Thank you so much for the opportunity to engage with CA students across the India. And once again, hats off to you for this lovely initiative, the Run at the Rate 100. You successfully completed Run at the Rate 75 in the Eastern region, and now stepping up further. That's really commendable. So I'll again come back to the topic, and I'll share the screen once again. So first of all, I'm going to showcase some examples of personalities, and you will be telling me whether, as per you, they are a leader or not. Okay, so you can type in the chat box, and the support team will be answering to me. So this is the first picture. You can just type in yes or no. All right, so lots of yes. So this is a clear example of a leader. So Modi ji is obviously a leader. He is amongst the most powerful persons in the entire world, and he is leading by example. That's simple. So I'll continue to the next picture. So the first one was a political leader. He was doing great in politics. Now here is Mr. Ratan Tata ji. And as per you, all the yeses, no single no. So he's another leader, and he's the leader in the business. All right. Next, coming to the third picture. Yeah, he must be favorites of many. Mr. MS Dhoni, the cool-minded leader. So this is not tricky as well. So he's a clear leader, and he has done terrific for the country and for his IPL franchisee as well. So he's a great, he's one of the greatest examples of a leader. Now the things are going to get a little tricky. Now, what are your views? I guess you must have identified him. He's Bumrah, the fastest bowler of India. So what do you think? Is he a leader or not? Whatever comes to your mind, you can say. So I'm getting mostly no's, not a single yes. Rethink. Okay, so everyone is going with the no. So the first three examples, they were leaders, they were very global leaders. Like Narendra Modi ji was the leader of the world. Mr. Ratan Tata was the leader in his business. Mr. Dhoni was the captain of the Indian cricket team. But don't you think Bumrah is also leading the bowling department of the country? So in a way, is he not a leader as well? There may be macro leaders, there can be micro leaders, but in a sense, he's also a leader. All right, leader doesn't definitely means that he must be a captain, he must be a CEO, he must be a CFO, then only he can lead. A leader is someone who influences other people. Like if a person have an Instagram ID, he's posting videos on fintech, on different areas into the practice. So he is also a leader because he's inspiring other people. All right. Now I'm coming to the next picture. What are your views now? Haha, right. Terrorist, okay. But my question is he a leader or not? Yes, he's a leader. So what are you thinking when you say yes, he's a leader? Okay. And no. Okay, see, so we are getting mixed answers. Yes, no. Yeah, right. Leading in wrong perspective. All right, we'll come to that. So the first question was whether he's a leader or not. We'll add adjectives to it later, whether he's a good leader or whether he's a bad leader. My first question is whether he's a leader or not. So that is yes, he is definitely a leader. In the beginning four slides, the four personalities which I showcased, does anyone have such followers who are ready to give their lives for those leaders? No, right? And what about him? The people he's leading, they are so into him that they are ready to spend their lives. They are going to do anything for him. So in a way, he is the most inspiring of the lot. I know he is inspiring in a negative way, in a wrong way, in an unethical way. But if we get into the true definition of leader, he is one of the greatest leaders of the world. All right. But that is where we talk about ethics. We talk about the good leader or a bad leader. So you must have gained a certain perspective about what is leadership, who is a leader. All right. And we'll be delving into the facts that how can you be a leader? Everyone is leading their life. So you have a life. You are the sole person responsible for leading it. Anything that happens to it is as per you. You have the right to make decisions. So what I feel is each person is a leader. So once you have this mindset, then you can broaden your expertise, broaden your mind. So you'll have to first believe that you are a leader. Only then can you flourish. All right. So let me take you to the next step about how to think like a leader. So the very first, foremost and the first important thing is that you need to set very clear goals, and that should be aligning with your vision. So everyone must be knowing the difference between a goal and a vision. So vision is something that you have set for a long term, like suppose you all are CA students right now. At one point of time, you will be qualifying, you will be becoming chartered accountants. Then some of you might be delving into practice. Some of you might be going into the corporates. So you'll have to administer that what is your vision. Like if someone is into corporate, he might be visualizing himself that after a certain time, like suppose 10 years, you'll be the manager of that company. You'll be at the senior most position. At the same time, a person delving into practice may have an outlook that after such and such period, you'll be having so many listed clients with them. You'll be dealing with indirect taxation or direct taxations, whatever you feel comfortable with. But you need to have a clear vision. Once your vision is set, then you can break into smaller visions, as in goals, that will help you reach that vision. For example, if currently everyone will be having one clear vision, that is to clear CAs, clear the chartered accountancy exam. And to do that, you will have to make separate goals, like you have to study for different subjects. You will be planning for different subjects. You will be planning tuitions. You will be planning the books that you will be dealing with. So that is how you break it down. So you have clear vision that you need to qualify and become a chartered accountant, and then you break into the different times. What is the timeline? How much articleship will spare the time? So how many courses will be there? So that is how you set clear goals. Going on, we need to focus on ethical leadership. Like someone pointed out during the Osama bin Laden picture that he was a leader, but he was a malpractitioner. He was unethical. So leader can be anyone. Anyone can be influencing a lot of people. But is he ethical? Is he having integrity? So that is what makes chartered accountants a good leader. That you must be ethical. You must be doing the right practice, and you must be certifying only those balance sheets which you are totally comfortable, you are totally confident about. So ethical leadership is more important than leadership. Next, to be a leader, you will be having a team. So you need to foster a very collaborative environment. Like there in some offices, if you are working or if you're not, So you will be seeing that the seniors, they treat different persons differently. Like they convey some message to someone, then other people might have a different understanding. So to have a very good environment, everyone should work collaboratively. So once you collaborate, the team gets better, the work gets better, and you become more efficient. So this is the responsibility of the leader to foresee that the environment is good and the team is collaborating amongst itself to get the work done. In same lines comes the empowerment of your team. So the leader is also responsible to delegate the right tasks to the right people. Now, suppose, as per my understanding, when I started my practice, I had a very tough time delegating my work because I had issues, the confidence issue, like whether if someone is doing some work, whether he has done it accurately or whether there might be mistakes. So I used to check it again and again. So what happened that my time was spent on double working. So one person have already worked on something, and me, I was again working on the same thing. So when you delegate someone, you need to empower your team. You need to believe in them. So they are bound to make mistakes. That can happen, but you need to learn from experience. They will make mistakes, but you'll have to empower them. So next, we are talking about a new term, EQ. IQ you must have heard. And similarly, we have EQ. So what do you think is more important, IQ or EQ? Yeah, I'll wait 10 seconds. Yeah, IQ, EQ, both the answers we are getting. All right. So IQ basically means that if you are a leader, so if you are in a particular subject, you are good at it. And EQ means to have an emotional connect with your team, with the members, with the clients. So that is emotional intelligence. So as per me, IQ is definitely the most important. Now, let me give you an example. Like there is a series going on between India and another country. And Virat Kohli, in the 5-match series, in the first 4 matches, scored single-digit scores. Now, if he is a captain of the Indian team, will he have the authority to tell others that why you're not doing well, please focus on the game, please, we need to win this game? If he himself is not performing, he might not be able to address other people in the same way if he would have performed in the first 4 matches. So the confidence level will be very different. So you need to know the knowledge of the subject. Like if you're into auditing, you need to know the subject thoroughly. So IQ comes first, but emotional intelligence is not second. It goes along with it. So you need to be emotionally intelligent as well. Like you need to follow the playbooks, the rule books, but at the same time, you need to understand the needs of your team, the problems that they are facing. So that goes hand in hand. So EQ and IQ, both are very important, and the leader should cultivate the EQ in the team. Now, this is the most important part, the investment in continuous learning. And I'm sure you guys are already into it because you are attending this series. So if you are attending this series, this needs no introduction, no explanation. So you are already into learning. And the leader should also make sure that the learning between the team is continuous. New amendments in our subjects, new topics, new technology, everything is being communicated to the team and they are fostering. So this is very important to continue the flow of learning. With learning, the technology goes hand in hand. So as and when new technology comes, forget a new technology comes. Suppose you are doing some work in a company. You need to think for yourself is like, how can you make that work faster? Is there a way to automate it? So you can simply ask AI about this is the work I am doing. I'm taking this steps to complete that action. Hey ChatGPT, please suggest me a better way to do this work. Okay, so this is just an example. So when you do this, ChatGPT will again give you multiple examples, like you can automate this, you can do using these formulas, you can apply these technologies. So that is how you can leverage technology into your practice. So this goes not only for practice or corporates, everyone will be needing this. So leveraging technology is very important. And I'm sure we are going to have some sessions in the next part about different technology modules that are available and that can be used by the CAs and the CA students. Now coming to this, develop an ownership mindset. So this development is not about thinking like you are the boss of the company. You might be leading a single department. You might be leading the whole finance team. So this ownership is about owning your responsibilities. Like even if suppose you are an article right now, your principal has given you a task to complete it by Friday. All right. So owning that task means that you work on it, you complete it. If there are any issues, you communicate that to your principal. You do not wait for principal to ask like, I gave you a task, what is the status? It is your responsibility to own that task. So that is what ownership is all about. In the same way, if a leader is responsible for any area, he takes ownership for it. He needs to be in charge. So if anything goes wrong, he will be held responsible. So that is what ownership is all about. Next, cultivating a strong work-life balance is very important. Currently, you will be studying, you will be doing your colleges, you will at the same time you will be working, then you will be having CA exams. So I won't think that would be a very good alternative right now. And you need to focus on work as well as studies. But at one point, the work-life balance becomes very important because work is not everything. Life should be managed well alongside it. So a leader should be such that he should avoid the Sunday works, the overtime works. He should make the environment so efficient that all the works, all the tasks gets good in time. So coming to the next part, the art of effective communication. So these are the traits which a leader should have to make the conversation, the correspondences, the communication very flow. So first is active listening. So the leader should be first listening to it, then only he can respond. If a person is such, if your manager is such that he doesn't listen to you, he just speaks his mind. So the person will think that the leader is not listening to me. He didn't even know the outlook of it. So that is why listening is the most important part. Once you listen, you understand this. After listening comes talking. So while talking, you need to be very clear and concise. Like some of the leaders, they just keep rapping about the stuff and keep repeating again and again. So that does not make an impact. Like suppose if someone makes a mistake, if he goes to the principal and says that, sorry, I had done a mistake. And if he keeps rattling about it, why did you do, why was this mistake done? I told you not to do. So that will, of course, he is responsible. He'll be scolding him, but that should not be a continuous job. He should be very clear and concise. Same goes while explaining logics when you have client meetings. So you should be able to very clearly explain the observations, the issues to the client. So tailoring your communication style. I'll first share an example. I recently had an engagement with a client. He was a dignified personality. His secretary called me and he told me that that person will be calling you at 4 p.m. and he'll have something to discuss. So I ordered their balance sheets, the groups. So I was all hyped up, like, why is he going to call me? So I was all ready with the laptops and I went through all the works that was done for him, what was pending, what is the latest status, what are the deviations. So I was just preparing everything for it. Later, when I received his call, he had a question. He asked me, and this is literally what he asked me. He asked me, I received a loan 2 years back of an amount of 15 lakh rupees. That came in as a single payment to my account. Okay. And now, after 2 years, I have to repay back that loan. So is it possible that I break it into two parts? I give him 7.5 lakhs today and 7.5 lakhs after a few days. Is it possible, or should I wait for another few days and transfer the entire 15 lakhs at one go? So this was the exact query that he asked me. So what does this tell about the personality? So he's a leading leader of a very big firm. He's an exporter. He's a CFO. Everything is there. He has excellent knowledge about doing business, about his products, about the manufacturing and everything. But the finance part, he's unaware of. He never bothered about finance. He was altogether a science student, and he went into the industries. So the audience, knowing the audience is very important. Now, if I answer that person quoting some section numbers, like this is the section number, as per this section, you have to you cannot do this, or you have to follow accounting standard and whatnot. So these technical jargons, will it make any use to that person? No. So you'll have to tailor your communication style. You'll need to know your audience. What is the audience? What will they be liking? What is not to be said in front of them? So that is what makes the communication very effective. Like if you have been looking through the slides, in each slide there are hardly 5 to 6 words. So I know, like I have also been a student, so I know that if the slide is full of numbers, full of letters, alphabets, words, so no one bothers to go through it. In fact, it makes it a little tedious, and I myself have slept over in some sessions. But I try to add very few words, add a pictorial cue so that it engages with the audience. So you need to know your audience and then adapt your communication as per that. Next comes building a rapport and trust. So this is not something, like I said, you need to build trust. You go to your client and had a word with him, and you make trust. So this is the ongoing process. You need to break this down. Suppose you get a task from a client. Your client called you and asked for a problem. So you may or may not be knowing about the problem. So you go home, you research about it. Then you later come back to the client like this was your issue and this is the solution. So with very small steps, so this happens once. Again, next time another problem comes to the client, he again calls you, he tells you the problem, you again work on it, and then you revert back. There might be a case that you might not be able to work on the problem. So you will again tell the client that, no, sorry, I couldn't work on it. I tried researching, but I couldn't find any answer to it right now. So you may ask some senior, or you may ask someone else about this issue. So this is how you build trust. So this does not mean that you are creating a negative image in front of the client. The client wants trust. Like if you do not know the answer, or if you do not know the solution to their issue, you clearly state them like, no, I don't know. If you know, you work on it and you answer. So that is how you build trust. And trust is not built in a single day or a single week or a single month. It builds over time. But if someone has to break the trust, that can just be with a few clicks. So building trust is really important. So once a leader has built trust with a client, so that keeps on going. So for example, if someone is into practice, he has a good relationship with client, the client trusts him. So next time, even if some other chartered accountant or some other professional is going to offer him the same services for a lesser cost, he won't go to them because he trusts the leader. So leader should be such that he can build a rapport with the client. So that helps in long-term businesses. In effective communication, non-verbal communication is equally important. Nowadays, we definitely are mostly online. We are meeting with digital modes. Sometimes even the videos are not on. We are just calling on audio. So that time, the non-verbal communication might take a hit. But whenever you are meeting someone in person, so non-verbal communication is equally important. The body language, the expression on his face, that is very important to understand the understand the thinking of the person. What is he thinking? Sometimes his words may be different, but the expression on his face is different. So you need to be able to read those, and that comes with practice. It is not that you can read a book like this is how to communicate, this is how to understand non-verbal cues. That will definitely help. But this comes with practice. The more people you talk with, the more people you engage with, you get better at non-verbal communication. You will start getting the hints like, yes, this is what the person means. And that is not fixed for every person. Each person has different expressions. Each person may attract different vibes. So you'll have to have practice. This comes with practice. Yeah, this is another important part. Practice patience. So patience is very important. Like you will be becoming chartered accountants, you will have a very good grasp of your subjects, the financial reporting, taxation, and everything. Now, suppose a client comes to you and he has zero knowledge about the finance. So it might be that you will have to explain the same concept to him multiple times. So that is where patience comes into play. So you need to be very patient. So suppose a client asks you a question 5 times, you answer him 5 times. But in the 6th time, if you lose your cool and you just say anything to the client, all that 5 times which you helped him, that won't count. He'll spread the word about the 6th time when you mistreated him or you avoided him. So patience is very important. So you need to be patient. You need to be very cool-minded. Then obviously using stories and examples are a very good way to be better at communication. So you can explain very difficult concepts with very easy stories and very easy life-like examples. So in a way, they will be able to understand much better. So using stories and examples wherever possible is very helpful. Then again, consistency is always the key. So you need to be consistent with what we are doing. Like I already said, like if a client asks you 5 times and the 6th time you couldn't, you avoided him, so he will have a different picture about you. So you need to be consistent. Similar things happens like when you are practicing or when your task has been assigned by a client. So when there is a new client or when there is something new for you, you are more engaged about it, you are more excited about it, so you do the work very efficiently, very well. But if the same works come again and again, your efficiency sometimes lose, sometimes you are not so happy about working that. So you need to be consistent. So consistency is the key to evolve further. Now we'll be talking about how to make decisions smartly and how to solve problems. And to do that, let's take an example. Let's have a problem. Suppose a hypothetical situation. You're all working in a CA firm. The deadline for income tax returns are fast approaching. You have around 100 ITRs, 100 reports that are due to be filed, and you are sure that all 100 of them cannot be filed by the due date. All right. So this is your problem statement, and we'll go through each step about how to smartly solve the problem and how to be a better thinker. All right. So this is the problem, and we'll go one by one addressing the issue. So the first step is to define the problem clearly. So that I have already done. But in real life scenarios, you need to identify them. Now, suppose you have hundreds of files pending, but you are working on your own. Your team is working on different projects, and you don't even know that you won't be able to file all of them. So you, at the last day, at the last moment, you find that 10 or 20 returns are pending. And now you think that instead of filing the last 5 returns which I filed, I should have filed these 5. And that time you are too late to define the problem. So you need to define the problem very clearly and very fast. So that is the first step. Like you are, if you are appearing for any CA exams, you are given a question. So the first step is to identify the problem, right? So you identify the problem and then you go on with the solution. So problem defining is the first step. Now, second step is obviously to gather relevant information. Like in our example, if you know that all the returns cannot be filed, now you will have to gather relevant information. What is relevant in this case? You need to know the exact number of ITRs that are pending. Now you will have to know the client-wise identification. You will need to know that which of these ITRs are pending due to the client's information or due to your end. Like suppose the client has not provided you with the information. So that is where you cannot work with. You are stuck. But at the same time, you might be having some different returns where the work is pending at your end. So in this circumstance, you need to gather the relevant information. All right. So after gathering the information, we go to the next step. This is where we analyze the options as to what are the options that we have. In our case, options can be like you have a team, you have some members who are comfortable in working with the company's ITR. There are some members who are working with listed entities. At the same time, there might be someone who is very new, who can only work on very simple IT returns. So you'll have to analyze the options. At the same time, you might have a different option, like you have a friend, you have a different team, you have a different CA firm that you can ask for assistance. So you'll have to analyze the different options that are available for your given problem. Next comes involving the right people. So once your problem is identified, you have sought all the relevant information, you have sought all the options. Next step is to involve the right people for the right job. Like I said, the person who is more equipped should be given the most difficult task. The person who is new should be given a relatively easier task, because at that the time crunch is there. So you will need people to be efficient. So if a person is already dealing with a selected industry, like he's dealing in tea industry, and their income tax calculations are different, the agriculture rule 60%, 40%, all sort of things are there. So you should focus on giving all the tea-based clients to that person. So that is how you involve the right people. So the leadership roles comes into play here, like when you have to involve which people. Next comes the usage of data and analytics for better decision making. In my example, the data analytics could be very low. Like you can have data like in the previous years, how much time was taken to file a complete return, how much time was taken to compute the tax liability. So that data can be placed here. But in a broader aspect, you will get data. You can have multiple analysis tools there. So you can derive more information. So while we are at this topic, data and analytics, what is the difference between data and information? Okay, let me break it down. What is more important? Data is important or information is important? All right, so we are getting both the answers, but majority is information. So why is information important, and what is the difference between data and information? Data is very scarce data. Data is something you input. Data can be you have purchased goods, you have transported from one place to another, you have quality checked it. Everything can be there. You can have data entry for the entire year. All right. Now, what is information? So if you give someone the data, the purchase register for the whole year, that can be running into lakhs and lakhs of lines. So will that be any beneficial to me or to you or to anyone else? No. So you will need to analyze the data. Suppose we summarize the data, we create charts out of it. Like this is the purchase trend. The purchase during the holiday season was higher. The purchase during the off seasons was lower. So this is the trend that is following. Now, suppose that person has multiple shops across the country. So you can analyze the performance of shops in different areas. Like in Eastern India, the peak season is this, and the trend also suggests that. In South India, the peak season is different, and the bar charts support that. So that is where data and information are different. So information is much more important than data. But at the same time, if the data is incorrect, the information derived out of that will be incorrect. So we need to focus on getting correct data, accurate data. Then we test check the data and validate it. And after that, we get into the next process of analyzing the data. So data and analytics are very important for making any decision whatsoever. Now, this is something we cannot just teach anyone. Trusting your instincts, but balance with rationality. So everyone says, we have a sixth sense. You need to trust your instincts. So there might be scenarios that if you take a decision that may go haywire, that the decisions you take might be wrong, but that should not stop you from taking decisions. When you take decisions, you will obviously sometimes they will be right, sometimes they will be wrong, but you'll be learning from those. So you need to trust your instincts. Sometimes you get all the documentation, you get all the paperwork, everything seems right, but your instinct might say that no, something looks fishy. And if that happens, I tell you and believe me, you go deeper into this. And this is how you detect frauds as well. We have done so for some of the clients, and that is where we trusted our instincts. And let me tell you, when you discover some anomalies, the paperwork, the documentation for those items will be the complete one. Like if there might be something missing in the irregular parts, but the ones that are fraudulent, all the paperwork, all the documentation, all the confirmations, all the external confirmations, everything will be proper. So you need to trust your instincts. Whenever you find something that this looks fishy, you need to just jump into it. The next step is considering the risks and consequences. Like in the above steps, we analyzed the data, we got the data, we drove information out of it. And now is the time to consider the risk and consequences. Like in our example, if 100 returns were pending to be filed, what can be the risk and the consequences if we cannot file them, or if some of these are filed and some of these are not filed? So what are the risks and consequences? Yeah, we are getting. So there will be late fees involved, the interest will be involved. So we'll have to figure out like which of the cases are having much more tax liability and which are the cases which have less tax liability. So if some nil returns are there, so the impact and the risk might be very low, but at the same time, if suppose a company is there who has incurred losses in crores, so if that company doesn't file the return in time, so that loss cannot be carried forward. So you need to get into the aspects, you need to think about it. And suppose that company which is having losses, you just skip it. You file all the others and that return is skipped. So that will have a major risk to you. The company won't be able to get the benefit out of it. So in that case, we'll plan it in such a way that all the losses carry forward cases, that will be done upfront. That will be done with first priority. Next, we'll be taking up the other cases. So that is how we can plan depending upon the data and the information that we receive. So considering the risks and the consequences are very important. We sometimes create a tree chart out of it. Like this is the situation. If things go right, this is going to happen. If things go wrong, how wrong can it happen? So you need to place those in the mind. And if possible, you should communicate this with the clients as well. Like sometimes you are going to take decisions for the clients. So if you have an effective communication, you communicate about every risk involved. So client will also be understanding like, yes, the step which has been taken by the chartered accountant had some risks. And later on, he won't be bugging up with you like you told to do like this, and now we are having such issue. So proper documented communication is very important. So considering risks and consequences. Now, obviously, prioritizing decisions based on impact. So based on the risks and the consequences, you will have to prioritize your decisions, like the loss returns that we were taking. So that is how you prioritize the decisions. Another aspect is that take actions decisively. It is not like you took an action and after sometimes you are rethinking about the action. Like, no, this was not right. I think I might be wrong. I will again consider a different approach. So once you are decided, you are very decisive. You need to be very decisive about it. You can't just go on changing everything and every time. So you need to have a perfect plan. And I suggest to just write it down. If you have a set a task, you just write it down. Now this is written, now this is final, and I won't waste more time on thinking about it. I will go to the next step, that is execution. Now, maintaining flexibility and adaptability, you might think that this is going against the point which was taken earlier, like decisive decision making. So this is different. Like you need to be flexible. It means that once you have decided and you started working, but it may happen that after a few days you get new information. So suppose income tax extended a due date for some class of SSCs. So this is a new information that you received. And if after this information, you are still working on those SSCs whose timelines have been extended, so that won't make any sense, right? So you need to be flexible. You need to adapt to the new amendments, the new changes that are coming up. So you need to be flexible and you need to adapt to all the changes that might come. Then time management is obviously one of the most important aspects for a leader. So you need to use the time wisely. Like the once time, the client was very confused about what to do, and he spent weeks and weeks on just taking the conducting meetings with different stakeholders and discussing different ideas. So they spent a lot amount of time. So you need to make quick decisions, timely decisions, and proper analyze decisions. You just don't need to just pull everything in front. You need to be very sure about the time that you are taking. And this is the last step. Evaluate the outcomes and make adjustments. So once you are done with everything, once you have taken some decision, so you need to evaluate the outcome. So that is how in the next scenario, whenever you face the same scenario once again, you will be able to evaluate like last time this happened, and on the basis of this, I took this decision. So that might go right, that might go wrong. So you will need to evaluate and then plan as to what could you have done better. So evaluation is very important. There is no person who is completely right or completely wrong. You just need to learn from your mistakes. So once you evaluate, you find out that no, this was a mistake. So you will need to learn from it and make sure that the same mistake is not repeated again. So in this case, there might be a scenario that leader should communicate in a better way. Exactly. So you need to learn from the mistakes. So this is how you manage teams and clients like a pro. So if we follow all the steps of the effective leadership, the effective communication, and how to make smart decisions, you will be managing teams and clients like a pro. So this is all about the session. And thank you so much for spending your time. And you can scan this code. There are 7 ways to connect with me. Everything is there in this code. You can scan this to connect with me. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, that can also be taken up right now. Vidhi Deepak ji, over to you.
Thank you, Devashri ji. It's a wonderful session which students must have undergone, and they must have really felt themselves authoritative by seeing your such a young and dynamic speaker, along with the way you have explained them the qualities of a leadership and how can they build on. particularly when I'm going through the questions, sir. One question is very much interesting and which I need your answers. And that is question is something on reflecting on the emphasis on communication, emotional intelligence, and professional ethics in both the OC and MCS program. How these skills contribute to effective leadership, sir? Somebody wants, and conflict resolution, whether when there is a diverse workplace, sir. This is a question which a student has asked, sir. How can you anything on it?
Yeah, the question is very good. And you must have
Just
attended
stop screen sharing for the timing so that we can communicate easily.
Yeah, just a second.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the question is very good.
Sir.
Like when you go to OC and MCS, I'm sure you must have gotten some tasks. Like you have to choose between right and wrong. So when we get a position like one person is right, one person is wrong. So the leader is at a very easy state to just tell that no, this person is right and this person is wrong. But in practical scenarios, there might be cases like both the persons are right or both the persons are wrong. So that completely depends upon the situation. So the leader has to manage both of them. So that is where emotional intelligence comes into play. So you'll have to make sure that the team goes right. So that doesn't break the team. So that is how the leader will be responsible. So leader has to do everything. So whether the conflict management is there or whether he has to deal with different teams having different opinions. So leader has to bear the back for everything. So that is how this is related.
And another concern is this that if it is applied to the managing a team, then it is the leaders has a better hands-on managing professional projects or teams within a CA firm, which as per what you sir say, sir.
I couldn't completely get the question. What is he actually trying to ask?
He's saying this, sir, if we are talking about strategic thinking, we are talking on building a team. So
Right.
if we handling a professional project which is better, or it is the teams within a CA firm or a client organization which will be show my leadership skills better.
No, both are important. If you are a leader, you'll be leading your team, and at the same time, the clients which you are dealing with, they will also know that you are a leader. So a leader is going both ways. So you need to effectively manage your team as well. You need to look after the problems. You need to cater to their solutions, and at the same time, you have to look into the clients as well. So that is where the delegation also comes into play. Like if you are confident that this person will be able to deal with the client directly, so you can delegate that person to deal with them. But that might be a wrong decision for you. And if that person was not able to deal with the client will again come back to you. Like you delegated this person and he has not done the job. So that is where the leader will have to again come up and take the blame. So leader should be in both the cases equally important, the managing the team as well and taking the projects of the clients as well. So both goes hand in hand.
Okay, thank you, Devashri. Now, all the questions which were there, I have posted to you, and you have satisfactorily. I think the students must have understood and must be very much delighted to learn from you. Now, I over to my secretary, BOS Operations, to conclude and give you the vote of thanks. Over to Madam.
Deepak sir, thank you, Devashri, for giving such a wonderful session, and students have raised their queries also. I also thanks to the students who have been joined online through this webinar. As of now, there are more than 500 students that has been connected online, and that will be viewed through the DLH. We have posted all the webinars series on the DLH platform for the students for later use, and it is also available on ICSCA YouTube. So you can view all these through online as per all your convenience. 24/7 they are available. So I request all these students to stay connected with all of us on the ICI Twitter of Board of Studies Operations, as well as these webinars are available online, offline on the DLH platform, as well as ICI YouTube. So stay connected with us on every Tuesday and every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
Yes.